I'm here to talk to you a little bit about an organization that we've been affiliated with at the school since about the year 2000, when we sent our first people to a seminar with the Washington Center. We had no idea what it was at that point. And we sent two of our students to a seminar. We sent Bonnie Potter to the Democratic Convention and Roger Mullins to the Republican Convention as part of a seminar program at the Washington Center. Now they're married to each other. Oh, they would have been anyway. But we didn't do much with them until 2000, again, until about 2004, when the Appalachian College Association decided to send 15 students from any ACA school that wanted to go, and 2 faculty members. And I saw the program and I thought, well, that sounds kind of interesting. Maybe I ought to apply. And then I thought, no, I won't apply. I'll never get it. I won't. They're going to pick really, really smart people. Well, they picked me. I've now done 19 seminars with them since 2004. I usually introduce myself at the Washington Center. Hello, I'm Nancy Cade. I'm a seminar addict. We have sent students to seminars now since 2004. We've had well over 30 students that we have sent to the seminars and to the internships. And I'm going to show you that in a minute, but I want to explain to you exactly what we have. We have a seminar program with the Washington Center that has seminars every January and every May, and then every 4 years, the political conventions. The January seminars are 2-week seminars, except for inauguration year, they're a 10-day seminar. But it's a 2-week seminar in January. In May, we now also have a 2-week seminar. It was 1 week, but we've bumped it up to 2. And you'll notice I keep using the word we. I'm on the Seminars Advisory Council. So that's kind of why I use the term we, because they work so closely with the universities. And then the convention seminars are also 2-week seminars at each of the conventions. January seminar, it's a 2-week seminar. The first week is on bipartisanship. So the students will hear speakers. We work with the Bipartisan Policy Commission. They hear speakers. They put together a program of trying to find a bipartisan solution to some issue. And they're divided up into groups. Very, very academic. The second week is politics in the media, and that's kind of my fun week. I enjoy that a lot. We will have a faculty director. Our faculty director currently is Steve Scully from C-SPAN, so if any of you are C-SPAN junkies, you're familiar with Steve. Prior to that time, some of the people who were closer to my age may remember our faculty director. He was Steve Bell from ABC News, who used to be he was a White House reporter. So we'd have a faculty director. They come in and work with the students. We have students from around the world. The January seminars usually draw between 150 and 200 students, somewhere around in there, except for the inauguration seminar. For the 2009 inauguration, we had almost 700 students. It was kind of frightening. Usually I get to know most of the students at the seminar. This time I didn't even get to know all the faculty that were at that seminar. And you never can tell how many people you're going to get for the inauguration seminars. But in the morning they hear speakers, which is just a fabulous opportunity for them to hear from some of the most amazing speakers. We have had Mike Mullins, who was chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, came in and spoke to our students. We have had most of the press. I'm trying to think of how many press secretaries, probably a half a dozen different White House press secretaries have come in to speak to the students. We have had congressmen come in and speak to the students, senators. We almost always get the chairman of the Republican Party and the chairman of the Democratic Party to come in and speak to the students. We get people like Grover Norquist, who is almost always one of the students' favorite speakers, even though they disagree with almost everything that he stands for, because he is so passionate. And you know exactly what he's thinking. Grover, for those of you who aren't familiar, Grover is he's a fixture of CNN and of Washington, D.C. He is opposed to pretty much all taxes of any kind. And he is an amazing speaker to have come in because everybody knows exactly what he thinks. He expresses himself really well. He's very passionate. Then the thing I like is in the morning, like I said, students will hear speakers, and you may hear Grover come in, and we had Grover and Howard Dean on the same day, which was kind of schizophrenic and fun. You could feel your brain cells slamming around your head. But Grover will come in, speak for about 20 minutes, and then he'll take 40 minutes worth of questions from the students. And they'll answer anything. We had the team that prosecuted Sheikh Khalid Mohammed, one of the people involved in the first Trade Center bombings. And they came in and they presented us with their closing argument. They came in and showed us a lot of evidence which is not public. Everybody had to agree to turn off all of their electronic equipment and not tape them because they want to talk to the students. They want to hear what the students have to say. They want to learn from the students. So this is an opportunity for a student to be able to ask some of these extraordinary people questions about almost anything. It is such fun. This year, we always have an evening event too, usually at the press club, and this year they fed Nancy the Girl Fan. I turned into Nancy the Girl Fan because it was Chuck Todd who hosts Meet the Press, and he came in and spoke to us, and that was, my students were taking pictures of Nancy the Girl Fan because I was having such fun. But extraordinary experience. Then in the afternoons, they go on site visits. We take them to embassies. Last summer, I took a group of students to the Indian embassy and the Pakistani embassy. And if you haven't been to both, it's an experience. Because everything bad to the Indians is the Pakistanis' fault. And everything bad to the Pakistanis is the Indians' fault. And they're really definite about this. And so we go to embassies, we go to immigration reform, Federation, immigration reform group. We go to all kinds of places in Washington that the students wouldn't get to go otherwise. I took a group this January to this little organization that assists the poor in getting medicine. Give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I have rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, I take me and Phil Mickelson, we take Enbrel. For those of you who aren't familiar, Enbrel's $3,000 a month. You know, luckily, UPIKE has really good health insurance. Okay, but what do you do if your health insurance doesn't cover these types of medications? By the way, the first 6 months I got free, and now I'm to $10 a month for it. So going from $3,000 to $10 is a good deal because Enbrel picks up your copay. But what are these people who can't afford it? And this was an organization that works to assist people in finding programs to help pay for their medications, their surgeries, and things like that. And one of my students was so excited by it, he wants to figure out how to go work for them. And he probably will find a way. Okay, so it's not, people when they think of these seminars, when they think of Washington Center, they think we're gonna just hear dull, dry politicians. Which, by the way, to me that's a total oxymoron. There's no politicians that's dull and dry. They're always just a little strange. And I really enjoy them. But that's the January seminar. The May seminar is national security. We have had some amazing faculty directors for the national security program. Every time I turn on CBS when there's a terrorist attack of any kind, I know that I'm going to see Juan Zarate. And one of my bragging points is Juan Zarate knows me. Because he is the expert on a lot of national security issues. And that's who was our faculty director. Last year, one of the gentlemen who was our faculty director is currently the academic dean of the National Defense University. So these are kind of second-rate people that come in and just don't do anything else. But they'll come in and they speak to us. Do you remember the picture they took of the president and this group of people that was actually watching when they killed bin Laden? Yeah. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that picture? Hillary's got her hand over her mouth. There's a woman standing in the back of the room. She's rather young. She's got very dark hair, heavy bangs. And she was airbrushed out of a lot of the pictures. She was one of our speakers. So nobody knows her name. You know, one of those types. But when you look up and you go, I know that face. And then you look down and you realize how you know that face. She was one of the people that was important enough to be in that room. So it's a May seminar. Then the convention program. One of my favorite faculty members on the planet is a gentleman who teaches at Rutgers University, Dr. Ross Baker. And Ross always talks about touching the bones, getting involved, getting into places. And the convention programs do just that. We get our students into the conventions. We don't promise them that we will get them into the floor, but we do arrange for them to have a work program. So, for example, my students were working for CNN. Or I had a group of students working for CNN. I've also had students working for various newspapers, for the party. I'm distinctly remembering some of the more fun students I've ever had. I had one student who volunteered. He had no idea what he was volunteering for. He volunteered to work at a golf course. And so he worked the Ron Brown golf tournament during the Democratic Convention in Boston. And he literally met everybody that was anybody within the Democratic Party because they were all playing in the tournament. And he was just guarding a tree. I don't ask questions. That's what he told me. I was like, what are you doing? He said, I guarded a tree. I said, okay, was that tree going to do something? I don't know, but I guarded it and it didn't do anything. And then I had a group of young ladies who offered to assist another group. And they ended up waiting tables at an event that was for all the women, if you will, in the party. So they got to meet those. They also have equally wonderful opportunities in the Republican convention. It's just those were two that stood out in my mind. I worked the Democratic convention in 8. I worked I worked the Democrat in 4, the Republican in 8, and I just went to the Democrat for entertainment in 12 because they gave me press credentials, the Democratic Party, the fools. They let me loose in the convention hall with press credentials. And I'll try to do that again next time. Because I haven't been in Philadelphia in a while, so I think I'll go play in Philadelphia. I'll probably go play in Cleveland too if I can. I'm a Democrat, but I can work the Republican convention just as easily as the Democratic convention. It doesn't matter. But those are the convention programs. And for our students, it's a wonderful experience. The January and the May convention programs cost about $2,100, $2,200, and we have a scholarship program for both of them, which assists them in paying for the program. In the January, we usually have It sort of depends on how much money we have each particular January as to how many we're going to send. Should I admit it? Depends on what my financial advisors tell me I can put into the fund, whether we send 5 or 6. Because I fund it. The school, we have an agreement with the school. They fund one scholarship. I fund as many as I feel like funding, and they're named after my dad. They're the Fred W. Meyer Washington Center Scholarship. And it's something I'm very happy to have named after my dad because he was a political junkie. He was an advisor to the Veterans Affairs Committee of the Senate, and he worked on a lot of Republican campaigns. Yeah, well, you know, we had a little disagreement on that one. But I'm very proud of that. And then and that's a competitive scholarship. You write an essay, and I have a group of faculty who read them and rank them. And so I don't have any role in picking except to look at the list and go, no, that person's not going because they came to my class drunk, or, you know, that kind of thing. You know, I go down and I vet them with this dean of students and all these people to make sure that they're not people that are going to get in trouble, because DC is a wonderful place to get in trouble. Just ask about any politician you can think of. Okay? There's a lot of bad boys and bad girls there. In the May seminar, we do it a little bit differently. The students are eligible for a partial scholarship for that one, and that is also funded through the Fred W. Meyer Washington Center Scholarship. The convention programs are a lot different. They're very expensive. They're like $5,000 for each student because the housing is so expensive and so difficult to get. And so that is a whole lot more expensive. I don't do those because I figure I can send 2 or 3 people to the inauguration rather than send them to the convention program. But I will look at seeing if the school wants to send. Usually they have a program where the president of the school can send one person to the Republican and one person to the Democrat and get a little bit of a discount. Now, the other thing real quickly is the internship program at the Washington Center. We can send students to the Washington Center to intern. Washington Center was created in 1975. It is one of the oldest. It is the most prestigious. And it is the largest provider of academic seminars academic internships in Washington, D.C. The students get between 12 and 15 hours of credit. We have a scholarship. Dr. Hurley secured a scholarship for us that assists in sending one student each semester. It's for $6,500. The program itself is $1,300. And that includes their housing. They intern 4 days a week, and then they also take a class. They also do some civic engagement work. But one of the things that I like most is the internship can be anywhere. Right now, our current intern is Haley Johnson. I will be up visiting her on Thursday. And I get to leave town for Hillbilly Days. And she's interning right now with a special interest group. Jocelyn, who was one of our first interns, interned with a higher education group that studied higher education policy. Kyle Collier, who is with YMT, he interned at a political media group. Let's see, Dimitri Curry interned with the Federal Marshal Service. Thomas Browning interned with the National Defense University and also won a trip to Japan. The $1,300 covers the internship, but it also covers the housing. And that's what I wanted you to see, the housing. This housing is in an area of Washington, D.C. called Noma, which is north of Massachusetts Avenue. It is just 6 blocks from Union Station. You can see the Capitol Dome from some of the apartments. But it is quite impressive, and I just wanted you to see what it looked like. To give you an idea of where we send our students. It is a secure building, you can't get in. That's the lounge downstairs. You can't get in without proper identification. There's a computer lab. There is an exercise room. There are half a dozen classrooms, and that does not include the 500-seat auditorium, which they'll show you. Yeah, that's the computer lab. That's the 500-seat auditorium. That's the front steps. That's a typical apartment. The apartments have granite countertops. They are 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments with 4 students in each apartment. Most of the apartments, some of the handicap apartments have fewer students in them. But it is an amazing facility to live in. And like I said, it's secure. I always laugh because when I go to the door, and I'll be going up there for some meetings in the next couple of days, and when I go to the door, they know me because I am Nancy Cade, the seminar addict, and the concierge will see me, and she invariably will say, "Hi Nancy, how you doing? Can I see your identification, please?" So they always check, so it's very secure. One of the things that I would hope you guys might consider with the Alumni Board is figuring out a way to sponsor some of the students for some of these programs. An internship is considered crucial in today's world. Getting a job, you need an internship. And an internship around here with Mr. Chamberlain is lovely, it's impressive. But an internship with the Federal Marshal Service gets them to know some other people. Also keep in mind, the Washington Center has close to 60,000 alumni. When these students are going out and applying for jobs places, there's a real good chance they're going to run into a Washington Center alum who it's going to be an automatic in for them to get into a job because they know what kind of students. These students that intern at the Washington Center and the ones who go to the seminar are all pretty much type A and tend to be very driven. Any questions?
I have 2.
Okay. You always did.
You know I don't have.
Do you know he took a final with me in crayon? Please go ahead.
That's true, I took a final in crayon, but that's a good story. But anyways, actually, you kind of answered the question, but I'm interested in student response. One of the big things in the class I teach in the fall, which I have all seniors, as you know, we harp on, hey, you're getting ready to hit the real world, and I give them the reality of your college education is very important, that GPA is nice, but in the reality of our world today, you have to have more. Now, as I listen to this presentation, that's what it screams to me. Wow, what a nice thing to throw on a resume. How much more marketable does it make you? My thought is, what percentage of our students try to take advantage of this? Do we use what's available, or is it just a small window?
I don't have anybody for fall. How's that answer your question, for one?
That's unfortunate.
But he's right. One of the things that I love that comes out of this program is students have a professional portfolio when they're done. And if you're interviewing someone for a position, and you're interviewing them and you're talking about things and you ask them, have you ever done any policy analysis? And they go, oh yeah, I took a class in policy analysis and I wrote this paper and it was really good. I got an A on it and everything. That's one category of good. There's another category of good when they can pull it out and say, yeah, I did a policy analysis for the National Defense University and they liked it so much they sent it to the Secretary of Defense and it scared me to death. That's exactly what happened to Thomas. That type of thing is a whole new level of experience. So, and every one of our students that has done either a seminar or an internship has used the same language. They're transformational. They transform you. This experience, I watch what the students look like the first semester they go, when they go at the beginning, and what they're like when they come home. I know a student that went on 2 different seminars. The first seminar, there were several of us that we thought we were going to have to kill her because she was very young. I mean, really young. Second seminar, she was a leader at the seminar among, Harvard students, University of San Diego students. There's this young girl from Pikeville who was one of the leaders because the first seminar transformed her so much, and the second one gave her that much more confidence. It was amazing to watch. Yeah, another question, Mas.
I did. Now, we have a small group in the room tonight, right, but we have a larger audience that will listen to this online, we hope. If a person said, well, I would like to help sponsor a student, either fully or at least in part, and I want to give something to the university to do that, how do they do that?
They can contact me directly, okay, and I can help them set it up. They can work with Jordan on setting up things. Dean Hess, obviously, is more than willing to help with that, but it would probably be better if they contacted me directly because I can give them the nuts and bolts figures that you guys in development may not be as familiar with, how much things are and all that kind of stuff.
And what number would they call?
218-5007. Had to think for a minute. You threw me off there for a minute. Or Nancy Cade, NANCY, one word, at UPIKE.edu. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. My office right now is a little bit of Grand Central Station. It's advising.
Nancy,
yeah.
You might have said, and I probably forgot this, what is the price of scholarship? How much money are you talking about?
For the internship, it is $13,000, and that includes their housing. It doesn't include their meals.
Is that for 1 year?
That is for 1 semester.
1 semester.
And it's very comparable to the price at the University of Pikeville for tuition and room and board. And what we try to do is set it up in such a way that we can make it for students who take their financial aid and apply it to the internship. Yes, it will. Because they're not going to the Washington Center for credit. All of their credit is awarded through University of Pikeville. Okay, we agree to give them credit. I am the faculty member of record for all of them, for the internships and for the seminars. And one of the things that allows us to keep the prices real low is I donate all my services. I refuse to take any money for it because I think it's that important for our students.
And what does a seminar cost?
Seminar costs around $2,200. The difference there is we usually let them have about 120, 110, 105, depending on the individual seminar, dollars in cash, which helps them to pay for their transportation to Washington.
I remember when I attended the UPIKE College.
Yeah, I was here when it was Pikeville College too.
Yeah, they had the Democrat Club and the Republican Club. Do they still have clubs like that?
But they have a conservative club. We do not currently have a Democrat club or a Republican club. Possibly one of the bad reasons for that is that I won't sponsor either one of them. I need to sponsor both if I'm going to. I don't feel comfortable sponsoring one or the other.
I remember they were about the same number
right.
of students. It equaled out.
Right now more of our students are Republicans than Democrats, to be perfectly honest with you. And we have a brand new, just started conservative club. So I have no idea of its size yet. I know who the faculty director or the faculty sponsor is, but I don't know how big it is yet.
I wish they had something like this when I love this kind of thing.
It's amazing. It's a lot of fun. I was just talking to one of our former students, a graduate from the University of Pikeville, who was interviewing for a position in the optometry school. And I went to see his presentation today, and he was, boy, I wish we had that. I wish I could have gone on one of those. And he traveled with me every other weekend, so still wanted to do that. He was on the academic team. This is an amazing opportunity for our students. One of the students that I'm very proud of, who was an alumni feature recently, Tiffany Thacker, she went on 2 different seminars. And she had no idea what she wanted to do when she got out of college. She just didn't know. She knew what she wanted to do. She didn't know it had a name. She didn't know what it was. And she went to the seminar and found out it was policy development. And she went and got her master's degree at at George Mason. Excuse me, I thought it was James Madison, there for a minute it was George Mason. University in Washington, D.C. She got her master's. She works for an organization that promotes the District of Columbia now in economic development. And that was because the seminar, that's what it is that I want to do. That's what that is. And we can get internships with just about any organization you want. We have, the Washington Center right now has interns at the National Zoo. They have internships at the National Institute of Health. They don't do beakers and microscopes. They're more involved in politics and policy. But don't just think of it as an internship in the White House or on Capitol Hill. There's a whole world of internships out there. Anything else? Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.